probably send you the copy machine upstairs. You guys, anybody in the audience wants pizza, help yourself.
Really funny word is pizza.
Move the piece.
Where's it from? Oh, no, you have a red, right? Yeah, I have one. Hey, this is Peter.
What's this here? This is your work.
Thank you. Dennis. No, you're not doing it.
I wrote on mine. This one is at the 322.11, right?
I now have 6:30 on 18th.
Okay.
Looks like a big bed over there.
Yeah, well, everybody got their, things? No, that Michelle's one.
So that one.
Let me see your budget then.
For the first time in 10 years.
Peter, let me have yours back. Something's missing.
Okay.
Document, so you didn't have as many papers, like 560 copies here?
These are.
Thank you.
Oh, so
You want it this way.
That's why.
Sometimes you can't hear nothing.
No, we were at 5:30, so now we're at 5:98.
Yeah, we're in different on that, but doing the room.
Black flag.
Working on
Good thought. Good thought.
Because there's going to be some stores and advertisements.
I didn't know.
Yeah, because trying to get some multiple advertisements show up on your search on Google, because local businesses are, but go on his website, has the address, doesn't have the zip code, so you won't pick it up.
Highlighter with, oh, yeah, this is what we're saying.
And so if I put the key on the door, so I got it, it's someplace in like spot.
Water coming tonight? No.
Either way, it's not going to pass our retirement accounts on boards.
What?
Either way, it's not going to pass our retirement accounts on boards.
No. This is what demo printed what you
This public meeting is being called in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, in that the annual announcement has been published in the Municipal Bulletin Board and published in the Courier News of Bridgewater, New Jersey, and the Star Ledger of Newark, New Jersey. Roll call.
Mayor Walden.
Present.
Councilman Quinlan.
Here.
Ramosi.
Here.
Dew.
Here.
Schaffner.
Here.
Dykes.
Here.
Connors.
Present.
Thank you for bearing with me. This is Peter's.
Sure.
Yes. This is Michelle's.
I'm back.
And this is Dennis. Sorry about the staple came out and everything got messed up. What I handed the three council people that were not on the finance committee, a copy of the budget sent to me from the auditors. The only change is that the auditors will explain what, that's the only change we made from the last time we met, Bob, and that was what Wayne sent me.
Right.
Okay, and I think that only included that revenue in there, and maybe some of those changes we talked about in the budget. So, just so everybody knows, this is a special meeting. We called a special meeting for both the 2011 budget and also the PBA contract. After the budget meeting, we will go into an executive session to talk about the PBA negotiation contract and then come out of executive session to deal with that. But at this point, I think I want to hand it over to you, or?
That's fine. I think what we should do is just back up a little bit to where we were at the last finance meeting. You know, I kind of did this whole spiel before, but I think everybody should hear where we stand right now. I mean, or where we stood. Originally, Donald put together the budget with a little help from Randy, and the budget came out with a 13.5% tax increase. As those of you who've been around before, know that that's not unusual to start out with in South Africa. We usually start high, we work our way down. knowing that it's a lot easier to come down than it is to go up. That was about $435,000 higher tax levy than last year. But the important thing about that was that it was $309,000 over the 2% levy cap. Okay, so last year we had to live with a 4% levy cap. This year it's a 2% levy cap. So we needed to make $309,000 worth of cuts in appropriations or have new revenues. And what we covered at the last meeting was the reason why that happened. And the larger items, number one, we have less surplus available. Okay, because we didn't generate back as much, we had we're using $100,000 less in surplus in this budget than we did in the previous year. In addition to that, we had $109,000 of expenditures that need to be raised in this year's budget that we incurred last year. Those were the emergency appropriations that we approved during the year. There was insurance, police, and legal were the three emergencies that we had. Okay, those were expenditures that occurred during 2010 that we had not budgeted for. They have to be raised in this year's budget. The sewage authority, at that point in time when we had the meeting, was up $123,000. That has since changed, but I want to stay to that point right now of where we were last meeting. The pensions went up $54,000. Health insurance was up $45,000. The municipal court revenue is down $34,000. Okay, obviously appropriations going up or revenues coming down impact the tax levy. All right, we collected. Sorry, what was that number again? $34,000 in municipal court. Those items, okay, are what are driving that $400 and something thousand tax levy increase.
What was the 45 for?
The 45 was the health insurance, right. Now, certain ones of those are common in every town. The health insurance, the pensions, but the other ones aren't necessarily as common. So that's what's driving your increase. It's not that we have exorbitant spending or anything like that, but it's a combination of revenues and appropriations. So we are at a point where we know for a fact that we have to cut $309,000 of appropriations or have new revenues of $309,000 to get under the levy cap. We cannot adopt a budget unless we're under the levy cap. You can't go to the state, get a waiver. In the past, you're allowed to go ask for a waiver. They don't allow that anymore. We're past the date where you're allowed to go out for a referendum. Council at the last meeting went through 3-4 hours. I left. I got out early.
Wayne wanted to go home right away. So.
Well, and came up with some cuts here and there. But I think everybody sitting around this table realized that there's not a whole lot in this budget unless we make major changes in the core of the town to find $300,000 of the cuts or revenues. So at that point in time, I had suggested that we consider a sewer fee. It is a common theme that is happening around the state of New Jersey right now. We had 2 towns that did it last year. Bound Brook is doing it this year, and 1 or 2 other towns that we were doing are also doing it. What is happening is the municipalities are they're starting to having to charge for the services. It was great when the economy was going great. You were allowed to everything kind of rolled in. You had taxes coming in, it wasn't a problem. Now we have this levy cap that you have to live within. The levy cap is on your taxes. So I'm sure you've read in some of the with the school boards, they're starting to charge fees for kids to participate in activities now. It's just another fee. It's not a tax. Okay, because the cap is on your taxes. The sewer fee is another fee. It's not a tax, so it's exempt from the levy cap. Now, I will say, and everybody understands that, bottom line is the same amount is coming out of the homeowner's pocket. Okay, in the end, if you charge a fee or a tax, it's still coming out of the homeowner's pocket.
The same increased amount.
Exactly. However, it does allow you to live with the levy cap. So your choices are, one, in my mind at least, okay, and institute some sort of a sewer fee, or make drastic cuts to services for the borough of Southbound Brook.
Let me just make sure they understand, if you get a waiver from the state, it doesn't waiver you that $309,000.
There are no more waivers.
But
No
no,
waivers.
there's no waiver. The waiver only eliminates you from the cap. You still have the $309,000 to come down in if you want some type of decent tax rate. It's still a tax increase.
If you cut the $309,000 out of the budget, that will be about a 4.5-cent tax increase.
But if they gave you a waiver, you still have that $309,000 in the budget.
There are no waivers.
No, but if you had a waiver,
If you had a waiver, yes.
you still have a tax.
You would have a tax increase, if you had a waiver for $309,000, you would have a tax increase of 13.5 cents.
Right. You still have to
Okay,
make up
and
that.
obviously that is not realistic. Okay, so I think, the choices are to go through just, $309,000 in Southbound Brook is major. Okay, it's not like we're sitting at $50,000. I mean, if you told me you're at $50,000, I think maybe you could tweak your surplus a little bit, maybe you could tweak a little bit here or there. It's not there. Okay, it's easy for me to say, I'm the auditor, I'm the outside guy, you guys have to live with it. But I really don't see how you can get under the levy cap without doing a sewer fee. So I think that's the first thing that you really need to decide is, one, will you even consider that? If you do decide you want to consider that, then you have to decide, all right, how much is it going to be? Do you want to do the fee to get you just under the levy cap? Or do you want to do the fee that's going to support your bill for the sewage authority?
What's the increase from the sewage authority?
Well, when we last met, it was $123,000. I believe with some new, well, I don't know if we got complete verification, but on the new handout that you have, that kind of raised it about another $60,000. So instead of being $123,000, it's almost a $200,000 increase on just the sewage authority.
Now, how would this work if we build the residents? It would be for what goes out. But what if that doesn't make up what we have to pay for the sewage?
Okay, so that's your question now. All right, so say the bill is going to be $598,000. Okay, well, let's for argument's sake, that's the bill. You can say, all right, it's going to be based on usage. So based on all usage, you're going to charge a fee that's going to come up to $598,000. That may be, on the average homeowner, $800, maybe $200, $300. I don't know. Until you have all the usage numbers, you don't know what that's going to be
So some houses will be more than others.
based on your usage. So my example I gave last time is that if you're a laundromat, you should be paying a lot more than a senior citizen that's living alone in a house because they're going to use less water.
Okay, now I just don't want the senior that's living alone to have to pay or make up the difference that it's not gonna
And,
be.
there are different ways to base the fee, okay? We had one municipality just based it on the assessed value of their home. To me, that's ridiculous.
Which is basically what's happening now when it's in the tax rate.
Right. Okay, once again, getting back to what I was saying before, you're going to find, as we proceed forward this year and years going forward, that you're going to have to start picking out certain things for your budget and charging for them. Okay, whether it's garbage or recreation. I mean, there are towns now that are the ambulance is, it's charged for insurance, and whoever covers, that's what it is. Okay, you always thought that the town, what are the core services that a town's going to provide? Police, public safety, public works. We provided a lot more than that, but I think you can see towns drawing back from that, and it's almost going to be as a pay-as-you-go, and it's going to be up to the town to find the fairest way to do that. And I think with the sewer, the fairest way is based on the usage. How much water you use is based on how much you would pay for that.
we have a large percentage of our town that is on wells, relatively.